The big and bigger picture at Electronic Arts. During one of my children's visit to me in Vancouver, Canada, while working for Electronic Arts, we went into the facilities on a weekend afternoon to see my office and the cafeteria, gym, sports field, and movie theaters. Yes, plural, theaters. And its cool glass everywhere, high-tech, multi-story, multi-building campus-style construction. I have so many stories from Electronic Arts in Canada, from theater meetings to broken toy people and to my hubris challenged, "Do you know who I am?" Here are some of those experiences. So, one of our stops on my tour of EA Canada, where what EA called the big picture, it was a 64-plus person movie theater used for watching videos and seeing game demos and presentations. Many teams use the big picture venue to highlight development milestones or communicate larger team messages. Unfortunately, the big picture was not big enough. Electronic Arts saw the value, though, of having a large gathering and presentation space. But the company had grown so big and had such large teams that the big picture was simply unable to handle more and more of the teams. What was the answer? Build the bigger picture in the new Phase 2 building, along with a massive underground gym for good measure. After all, EA had too much money. The bigger picture dwarfed the big picture by a lot. It was 3 times the size, supporting 180 plus seats and more aisle optional seating as well. I showed my daughters how I presented things by donning the lapel microphone and a belt battery pack and transmitter, and powered up the huge stage audio-visual system and lowered its massive, huge silver screen, powering its rear projector, all remotely at a control station. They were impressed with the sounds, the lights, the automation. Their dad was cool. And yes, of course, I knew how the AV system worked in detail. I was renowned at EA for knowing everything about everything. My reputation was so wide and extreme that at a holiday party, they hired a comedian troupe to mock me as a hard-to-comprehend Einstein of the video game development industry that also just knew everything about everything in the entire world, period. My reputation was awesome. And complimentary, actually, to me. Apparently, though, others considered it to be insulting and viewed me as inflexible and unwilling to reduce my intellect to mortal levels so that they might comprehend my brilliance. As a point of interest, Human Resources eventually said to me that I managed the most elite and elitist attitude team within Electronic Arts. They asserted overtly that I hired attitudinal people that saw themselves as better than others. I countered that I hired people that did not fit anywhere, that were seen as broken toys that no one wanted because of their attitude. I informed them that amazing talent often has amazing mental issues, which may be masked in attitude and social awkwardness and outward appearance problems. In no way could Human Resources comprehend that people that do not get along or fit in with others in the mainstream of staff could actually be better at their jobs than most other people that got along with people. Well, I can tell you, I was right, of course. People that worked for me shined so far above others that my broken toys began being poached by other EA groups and divisions. They saw these previous problems making amazing technical and experience innovations, and they wanted it for their own groups. Ultimately, I just said to any that harassed me that I managed the top for the top, and anyone without potential to be at the top or a top contributor did not merit being on my team. Done. That was it. I asserted to human resources that I lived by a code, that everyone should do their best and should be rewarded on the results, not their effort. And thus, I fostered a culture of meritocracy and a commitment to excellence. I told them my success and our division's success depended on meritocracy and recognition of greatness and the removal of the weak and non-great people. I insisted that weak, low-performance people hurt successful people and limit the company. Well, human resources countered and persisted to fix me over the years. They went so far as to assign me a weekly human resources synchronization meeting, an HR sync session. It was as if they wanted HR to be my personal psychologist to shape my management course. Funny, I converted HR to believe my way of thinking. And so they moved a second and then a third HR person, and finally the very HR director themselves to be my personal therapist. And then the human resource team finally embraced and accepted universally, even the HR director, that I was right. Such has usually been my experience. Those that have open minds will see the truth when I show it to them. And as a funny corollary, those with closed minds generally lost their jobs eventually. Well, after all that tangent on human resources and meritocracy, let me say the culmination of the EA tour with my daughters. A security guard approached us after the bigger picture, and he demanded that I leave immediately because I violated security rules by bringing my daughters to work without signing them in. The guard further took down my employee badge name and number, as if to report me for my transgression. And worse, I dared to bring my children in on a weekend. I was still a high self-esteem attitude person myself. How else could I lead the top of the top meritocracy? And so, consistent with my self-image, I asked incredulously, "Do you know who I am?" The answer, no, and it did not matter, because rules apply to everyone. No one is above the law. The rules, blah, blah, blah. Yes, the automatons parroted their programmed playbook lines and refused to use any gray matter that had been given to them at birth. They were idiots. The man who had taken down my name refused to even look up my name to confirm my identity, my job role, or authority. Well, that Monday, I wrote a fuming email, and I met with the Human Resources Director to threaten my resignation if justice was not served. The guard had embarrassed me with my daughters, and he was completely out of line. And his refusal to mitigate the situation by not looking up my identity was unacceptable. It is my understanding that the guard shortly afterwards ceased working for Electronic Arts. I cannot say if my complaints contributed to his exit, or if he just sucked and was fired otherwise. Either way, he was informed that I was the Chief Technology Officer and that he should always check authority and identity of anyone and everyone. The entire team of guards were likewise informed. Well, he obviously knew now he made a mistake. That guard was out of a job. My reputation at EA was very positive. I traveled EA studios globally to learn and partner and engage with how our division could adapt or make new versions of EA game franchises on portable and new video game consoles. At one point, I was asked to interview to become the head of Electronic Arts in Los Angeles, EALA. However, to make a long interview story short, it came down to the current GM of EALA. He was a conceited prick that could not see how ignorant he was of technology and the fundamentals of game design. I had heard of EA Spouse, which was a big public stink about EALA abusing its workers so badly that the workers' spouses lamented never seeing their partner and even seeing their health falter without concern by the company, EALA. It was obvious in minutes that EA Spouse was legitimate and was clearly supported, if not caused, by this current head of EALA. He was apparently a conceited, womanizing, deplorable scumbag of a man, as I very quickly and easily saw. Because the current head of EALA was to oversee multiple studios, including itself, I would report to him, and that was not going to happen. I declared the interview a fiasco and happily moved on. I was learning painfully how to navigate megacorporations and their nonsensical ways, how people hid in the fat of big company inefficiencies or behind ignorant managers, how promotions and opportunities are often linked to politics and alliances, not necessarily to talent and quality of work or quality of product delivered. People prefer not to offend lesser skilled people over maximizing the talent of greatly talented people. I learned that soft skills have value, but to me, hard skills remained having more value. And those with real talent carry those with less or no talent. They even carry people that are just average, thus never getting the rewards they deserve for being great. The key was fairly compensate average people, but reward great people more, greatly if possible. Offer training and mentorship to people with high potential. Celebrate innovation and quality and speed. Drive meritocracy and excellence. And to everyone else, I do not care. To all the others, get lost. And especially get lost if you cannot handle me and my team's greatness. Get out of the way. Let me and my team succeed. And make any managers that work with me and the team a lot of money, and let us all get promoted. Let the water level rise for us all. I do not need interference. Let us succeed. I accepted that I will not go to the White House, but I demanded that I command the wall, the military, and get stuff done.